Alright guys, today I want to do a small overview slash small review on two different bike racks, one being the Kuat Sherpa 2.0 platform rack, or tray rack as some would consider it, and the other one being the Saris Bones 3 rack, which is able to carry a capacity of 3 bicycles, and as you guys can see, the Sherpa can only carry 2. So I initially got the Saris just because I didn't think that it was going to be completely worth it to install a hitch on my car, but I tried it out. I had it for about a week, and in that week I installed my hitch and I was able to get my Sherpa rack. But as far as the Saris rack goes, I honestly did not really enjoy using it, you could say, just because there's nothing really wrong with the construction of it, but I ride a gravel bike, and of course these straps are able to accommodate some very large frames and some very large top tubes. It's just every time that I would mount my gravel bike, the rack would sag, and these two upper arms, there'd be a good amount of dead space between the trunk of the car and the actual arms themselves with the little feet. There'd be a good amount of dead space, so every time I would go over a bump or pothole, the whole rack would just jiggle, and then the arms aren't very secure considering I've already tried tightening down the little locking mechanism that they have. That is just about as far as it turns. Like, it just keeps going, it never stops, and not very secure. I just didn't really like it, so I decided to put the hitch on the car, and then a few days later I was able to find this Sherpa 2.0 rack, and this one is the one that is actually above the Quad Transfer 2, which is able to transfer 2 bikes. And the reason I got this one was because I wanted a rack, and I wanted it somewhat immediately just because I got into riding after a 2-year hiatus again, and I actually just wanted to go riding right away as soon as possible. Otherwise I'd just throw it in the trunk, but it's kind of a hassle getting the bike in and out of the trunk. So this quad rack ran me about $534, while as the Saris rack right here ran me about $100 from some guy off Craigslist. Otherwise they would run you about $200 after tax in a store. So this one being above the Quad Transfer 2 rack, same mechanism. The arms move down and they fold down to save on space. You just get this up. Alrighty. And this one, the little cradles to hold the rear wheel, they pivot, and they use a strap for the rear wheel, and for the front wheel it would just be this. They're very sturdy. And then for the front wheel, it's actually this little cradle that opens up. It's spring loaded, so you guys might want to be careful when you open it and close it, just because you don't want to wear out that spring too quickly. It also has a locking hitch pin that comes with the rack itself. That is included. Some people might think, oh, it's gonna rattle, but are you really gonna hear it rattling when you're going like 40, 50, 60 miles an hour? So yeah, also it came with its own cable lock, which is not integrated into the rack itself like the Quad NV, but it does lock onto the rack itself if you just want that extra security, or you could just leave a buddy with the bikes. And yeah, so this is the rack when it's flat, so you could load up the 2 bikes, and then it folds up for saving a little bit more space, and then you could fold it a little bit more down or tilt it a little bit more down in case you are using this on an SUV or a hatchback, which the trunk needs to go up. As far as my car goes, the trunk's able to clear it even with like a 29er in it, or like my regular gravel bike, and I don't need to tilt it. But it's a pretty cool feature. And as far as weight goes, the Kuat Transfer 2 comes in at 41 pounds. This one, the Sherpa, comes in at 34 pounds. And this Saris, I would say right around 7 pounds. But I would prefer this. But then again, if you are on a budget, but you still want a rack that is a tray style rack, I would say try it out first before you actually buy it. Find someone that has one. My friend has a Thule platform rack and I liked it, so yeah, I picked up the Kuat Sherpa 2.0, and this is my small comparison to a trunk bike rack versus a platform hitch tray rack. But it's just personal preference and as far as your economical situation goes. So yeah.